Welcome again to the Chronic Pleasure Podcast, where we talk about all things pleasure. My name is Karen Laurie, and I'm just glad you're here. So, one of the things that really had bothered me in terms of being able to be in a place of chronic pleasure was the fact that I had so many people in my life who had died. My dad had died. My second boyfriend had died and he had killed himself. And then I had all sorts of other people that I loved that had died, and animals and pets and things that had passed away. And that grief had been so overwhelming that I hadn't been able to function. And I remember praying about it. I'm not religious, but I've always had sort of a connection with something that is spiritual. And I remember praying about how, I really wanted to understand um, death and really wanted to understand life. And one of the things that happened is the boyfriend that had killed himself, he had killed himself about 10 or 12 years before I had this experience. But when I was trying to start to recover from this narcolepsy and this chronic pain that I had, I started to hear somebody talking to me, but there was nobody in my house. And I would hear this voice saying something along the lines of, you're gorgeous, or singing a song that boyfriend had written for me called I Feel the Magic. When we were first dating, and I would hear that little bit of the song. It was I hear the magic like I never felt before. I imagine that it's always been there, like an angel looking after me. Angel baby, give me more and more. And so that's the little bit of the song that I would hear, and I kept thinking, what is that? And then, because I have this great interest in physics and science and all this stuff, I was invited to a physics party, which was an event in itself. And actually, I was falling asleep at the physics party. But one of the things that I saw was all these people, they had a big whiteboard by the door, and all these physicists were going there to write out the formulation for the different laws of the thermodynamics. And I had said, what are they doing? And they told someone, one person was explaining to me how each person had these different equations. They were like having a physics equation competition. It was very funny. But somebody said, well, it's the laws of thermodynamics. And I said, what are the laws of thermodynamics? And he said, well, the first law is energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transmuted. And he had said that at that party. And then I went home and I didn't think about it for a few days, but I was doing some meditation, and all of a sudden I realized, wait a second, my dad was in a certain energy and now he's in a different energy. If energy cannot be created nor destroyed, it can only be transmuted or transformed, which means shifted. What happens to the energy that is beyond what the body is? And then I started to recall all these times in my life when I had known things that I couldn't have known. So, for example, one day I was driving, and this was right when my husband and I were starting to get divorced. We were separated. And I was driving and I heard what sounded like a dog. My husband and I had a dog together, but the dog had died about a few months before. And I heard something in the back of my car, and I thought, I don't know, maybe a dog got in the back of my car. So I pulled over to the side of the road, and I got out and I looked in the trunk. There was nothing in the back of the car. There was no dog, and there was nothing in the trunk. So then I got back in the car, and I'm putting my seatbelt on and turning the car back on. And all of a sudden, I felt this energy as if that dog was with me. And I felt that dog kissing me all over. His name was Reuben. So I was like, Ruby, oh my God. And I could feel him like he was literally licking me and cuddling me all over like he did when he was a dog. And I was like, Ruby. And he said to me, I got this feeling. It wasn't like I heard it, but I felt this feeling that was as if it was he was saying, or that energy was saying, you have to call your ex-husband. His name was Chuck. You have to call Chuck. You got to call Chuck. You got to call Chuck. And we were just getting separated. And I was like, oh no, I'm not going to call Chuck. And he's like, you got to call Chuck. You got to call Chuck. And I was like, no, 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 no. And so I was like, no, 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 no. And then Ruben kept saying, you got to call Chuck. He's going to get a dog. It's going to be me. And I'm thinking, he already thinks I'm a freaking nut. I am not going to call my ex-husband who's divorcing me because I'm a nut to tell him something like this. It will make him think I'm even crazier and we will never get back together, which anyway, that's a whole nother story. But so I ended up finally, Ruben was just, like all over me all day that night. And then I finally got up in the morning. He was still like with me in the morning. You got to call Chuck. You got to call Chuck. He's going to get a dog and it's going to be me. You got to call Chuck. So I finally, I was getting ready to leave the house and I thought, okay, I could feel this like insistence from Ruben's energy. And I thought, okay, fine, I'll call. So I call his cell phone and I said, hi. I said, is this an okay time to interrupt? And he said, well, yeah. He said, I'm just in the car with his daughter, Nikki. And I said, oh, well, give Nikki my love. I said, I think I got a message from Ruben. And there's this like long pause. And he says, yeah. I said, yeah. And he goes, what was the message? And I said, he said you're going to get a dog and it's going to be him. With a long pause. And then Chuck said, we're driving to Santa Barbara to pick up a dog. I got off the phone and I wondered about that. Now, this was before I had learned that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transmuted. So I didn't understand it. But when I was thinking about that after the physics party, I was thinking about all these other experiences I'd had. Another friend of mine, her name was Birgit. And when she and I had first met, she had something that she wanted to heal with her father. And I had done this healing work with her because I was kind of doing this healing work sort of on the side when I was acting. And I had done this healing work with her. And then I had never met her father. He died before I met her. But the next day, I had felt this energy of him. And it was like he wanted me to give her a message. So I had called her up because I could feel it. I was just putting on my makeup. I was still living with my husband. And I was putting on my makeup in the morning to go do something. And I called her and said, hey, I feel like I'm getting this message from your father. And I told her what the message was. And she was from Austria. And she says, oh, Karen, I cannot believe that. That's exactly how my father would talk. That's amazing. Oh my God, I have chills. That makes me feel so good. I feel so loved. I can't believe it. I'm going to cry. I'll talk to you later. So she got off the phone and then she called me back a couple hours later and said, can I come by? Well, she said it with her Austrian accent. Can I come by? Can I come by? And I said, sure. And so she came by and she brought me these flowers that were her father's favorite flowers because she had felt like her father had really communicated with her through me that morning. So this was again before I had understood that energy could not be created nor destroyed. It could only be transformed. I had another experience also with Birgit where I didn't know it because sometimes we would talk and sometimes we wouldn't. We were friends, that kind of friends where you would talk for 6 months every day and then not talk for 3 months and then talk again every day for a little while. So I hadn't talked to her and I didn't know what was going on. And I was actually napping because I'm still in the place of recovery. And I heard, or I felt an energy that said to me, she did the right thing. Tell her I'm proud of her. Tell her she did the right thing. I'm proud of her. She did the right thing. And I got this feeling that it was Birgit's dad. And I didn't know where Birgit was or why, but I tried calling her and it didn't go through. I could tell that she was somewhere out of the country. I didn't know where. So I decided to send her an email, and I sent her an email saying, Birgit, and now she already knew that I was nutty in this way. And I said, Birgit, I think I got a message from your dad, and he said he's proud of you. You did the right thing. A little while later, I get a call from Austria, from Birgit, and she says, Karen, I had done a business deal that was something my father had left me, and I had to get my brother and my sister out of the deal. And I felt so guilty, and I was just by myself in my hotel room, and I was crying on my bed thinking, did I do the right thing? Dad, give me a sign. Give me a sign. Help me know if I did the right thing or not. I said, and then I went to the email, and I saw your email, and I realized I did the right thing. And she was sobbing. And I just listened to her, and she told me this whole story about what had happened. And I didn't know any of that. I just knew that I got this feeling that her dad was proud of her and she had done the right thing, and that she needed to know that. And these kinds of things had been happening all my life, but I had never put them together. I had never understood them until that night. Well, not even that night, but a few days after that physics party, when I was in my meditation, and I started to see that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is only able to be transformed. And I realized that the energy that was Reuben, or the energy that was Birgit's dad, or the energy that was my dad, had not been destroyed. It had just changed. And that there was some reason that at some different times in my day, I was receptive. I wasn't receptive all the time, but there were moments that I was receiving this information. And I got so fascinated with what is it like if I could receive this all the time. And my grief started to ebb away because I could feel that those energies of the people who had died were really the energy of people who were now in a state of love. And the love was so profound and so uplifting and so beautiful that it took away my grief, and I was healed from something that had been going on with me for decades, this kind of loss that I was told I would never get over. So that was an aspect of chronic pleasure. And again, I just want to encourage you to go to chronicpleasurebook.com and get your free copy of any of my books. And thank you so much.